Hello,
مرحبا
namaste.
Hello. Hey, my microwave stopped
por
working.
favor,
Please
reprograma mi
look
reserva.
light.
This is Ms. Bolna. How can I help you today?
Hey everyone, I am Maitreya, the founder of Bolna. So Bolna is a complete voice AI platform that offers orchestration, APIs, no-code tools, and even fine-tuned agents to automate all of your business conversations, both for inbound and outbound calls. Today, I am excited to be joined by Damini, who is the founder of Hypothesis. What Hypothesis is tackling is something quite buzzy, which is agentic workflows for e-commerce. We'll demystify what that means and we'll go deep into how voice AI also fits into her journey and her vision. So, Damini, welcome.
Hey, hi, Matri. Hi.
Great. So, Damini, why don't we start with your story? So, would love to know your background. How did the idea for Hypothesis come about and
Right.
what's going on?
I come from a primarily product management background, and I have worked with growth stage startups like Khatabook and Misho in their product teams. My last stint was with Khatabook, where I spent 3 years. I was pretty sure I wanted to build something of my own, so finally decided to take the plunge. And who is my co-founder, both of us were tinkering with voice AI of last year. Wanted to figure out what are the capabilities, how deep can the conversations go, and how human like does the agent sound. So we did a few pilots with consumer brands, and just to test out core capability itself. I have worked in a similar space before, so I had some context, and hence like wanted to double down on the space and figure out what is it that the brands are looking to solve for urgently, and where does our expertise also come into the picture. After multiple conversations with D2C brands, one thing that strongly came out was this problem of cart abandonment, which is our first product that we have built in Hypothesis. The solution is voice AI based, but firstly, if we talk about the problem itself and why it's relevant now, much more now than before, is because for online brands, of course, they are selling on marketplaces, quick commerce, their own website, and if they're big enough, they're also selling in offline retail. Now, the margins, they are the best when they are selling on their own website. They also, with growing growth of quick commerce, there's a lot of brand dilution. And one way to defend your brand and control the narrative and keep hold on your customers and make sure that they return to you is by having a strong direct sales channel, which is the Shopify store, right? So it is more and more important for brands to make sure that the Shopify store works well, is high converting, and is giving a delightful experience to their customers. And generally, leaky funnels are a big problem. Within that, of course, cart abandonment hurts the most because the customer has already gone through the funnel, understands the product, has put the products in the cart, but have for some reason not completed the purchase. When we dug deeper, we also realized that around 40% of those drop offs are because of queries that go unresolved, right? So these queries
Okay.
are around the quality of the product, shipping timelines, return exchange policies, etc. All of them are resolvable with a conversation. With that understanding, we stepped into this ecosystem with a
Nice.
very simple plug and play solution. Wanted to make sure that the brand has as little onboarding effort as possible. We built a Shopify app which on automates all outbound calls to customers who abandon their checkouts, and these calls are conducted by a sales agent which talks to them, understands what it is that they're looking for, recommends the right products, and then closes the sale.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for the clarity and great context. So, just moving more on to the Shopify angle itself. So, you said cart abandonment was one. What are other avenues or other sectors you explored? I remember you using Bolna a couple of months back for surveys and all as well.
Yes, definitely. Cart abandonment is the first thing that we wanted to go after. What we're very sure of is the space of online brands. So we want
Hmm.
to continue to work with them, not just in India, but globally as well. And there are a lot of workflows within the e commerce ecosystem that can be automated with voice, and it's not just about automation, but the overall impact on revenue and cost optimization can be much better with voice AI coming into the picture, right? Yes, to answer your question, there are a lot of other workflows. For example, once an order has been delivered, the brand wants to give a call to the customer to, especially if it's a first time customer, to get feedback on the product. This is where the survey use case also comes into the picture. Then there are other use cases around customer query resolution. So once an order has been placed, there are a lot of queries around shipping timelines,
Mm.
if they order updates, etc. All of that, which is essentially the customer support center of the B2C brand, that is again up for automation with voice AI.
Correct.
The third is also within the survey mandate, there are surveys to be done with vendors, with retailers as well who are selling your products, to understand how the customers are dealing with them. What is the feedback by the customer which was given to the retailer, right? So, especially then relevant for FMCG companies or even online brands that also have an offline retail component there.
And
These are workflows. Yeah.
sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
was just saying automations have been around for a lot of years, right? So how is agentic workflows different? What does agentic workflows mean to you? And what differentiator are you bringing there?
Yeah, so automation has been there for as long as we can remember. How agentic is different is essentially like the core difference would be that an automation operates within very fixed guardrails of certain rules that have been defined by by whoever is using them, right? The business owner says that if this happens, then do this, otherwise do
Hmm.
that, right? So if it's a
Hmm.
very if function, versus agentic workflows are where essentially the AI takes over the role of the decision maker as well, right? So the decision maker is when to do something and what to do, right? Let's say we automate outbound calls to everybody. Now that is not agentic. That's a plain automation. Now, once the call is completed, then should there be a follow-up call? That is agentic, right? The
Hmm.
AI decides should we do a follow-up call to that customer on the basis of the kind of intent that was expressed by them during the call, right?
Hmm.
So the first part of the workflow is automation. It's not agentic, but the second part is agentic, if that makes it
That makes
clear.
sense. And I'm assuming there'll also be an agentic intelligence layer in before the call happens, deciding what needs to be discussed, what sort of
Yes.
variables you want to pass and all as well.
Yeah. So all the way, so we pass all variables to the agent. We make sure that it's as data rich as possible, so that if the customer is referencing a past order or any product that is not there in the cart,
Hmm.
the agent should be able to answer those questions. But how the conversation goes is essentially tailored at a customer level, basis
Makes
the
sense.
intent that the customer has shown. So that itself, yeah, is agentic. Yeah.
Makes sense. Now, as you already know, Bolna is all about voice. So I would love to understand specifically what differentiator is voice AI bringing into what you're trying to build and how you're leveraging it.
Voice is at the core of what we do. Why Bolna came into the picture was that we knew the use case, we knew the problem we wanted to solve, and partnering with Bolna was the fastest way for us to go to market. That's the reason why we worked with Bolna in the first place. And in a world where there is no voice AI, right? That is a world that existed just a few months back. What brands were doing essentially two things, right? Let's say you are operating in a low to medium type margin
Hmm.
business, you will primarily rely on a WhatsApp or email push marketing. Push marketing was just like discount heavy conversation. So you're pushing lower
Hmm.
prices, higher discounts, and
Hmm.
as time passes, the amount of discount also increases, which can drive up orders but also reduces the margins that the company has. And the second category is if, let's say, the brand has certain big margins to play with.
Hmm.
they would have these human call centers that will be doing the same kind of calling that we are doing, but with human agents. While that is effective, and it was one of the great days in which we validated our use case, was that
Hmm.
human agents are already doing this calling. And they are very effective in that because of the fact that, let's say, there are certain vertical expertise a certain human agent has. They have worked with, for example, a mattress company before, so they know
Hmm.
how to sell mattresses over a phone call, right? However, it's still a high cost center for the brand to be managing a human sales team. The cost of
Correct.
training the teams, the cost of churn that comes along with it, all of that is essentially baked into it, which again makes the brand's margins thinner.
Very interesting. So let's say there are 100 customers who have abandoned their cart and gone away, and I do all 100 of these cart abandonment calls using a human, and
Yeah.
I convert whatever percentage of them. How close to that are we using voice AI agents? Are we 100% there? Are we converting as many? What would that number look like?
As compared to human agents, you mean?
Yes.
We are not 100% there, I'll be honest, because of course within voice AI there are different use cases, right? There's survey, there is confirmation. Sales is the hardest thing, and in the ecosystem also, sales enablement AI tools exist and they have scaled. A sales agent which is completely AI without having a human in the loop is still a little bit behind as compared to human
What would
agents.
the what would little bit mean? Like any rough qualitative number that you would have, quantitative number that you would have
Around
here? That
25 to 30% behind in terms of actual effectiveness. Yeah.
got it. So if a human can resell maybe 10 cart abandonment orders, you would see around seven being
Yeah.
happening using the AI agent.
Correct.
And what would boost that number to 10? Is it the intelligence? Is it the quality of voice? Is it just the way in which someone talks? Or is it like the orchestration layer, the latency and all? What would that big thing be?
I mean, there are different like hypotheses that we have, right, on this. My sense is that the core technology around of voice AI, which like it bakes in the latency part, how human like it sounds, etc. All of that has to improve, right? We are still in very early stages of voice AI, and
Hmm.
I'm sure that this will improve. But my sense is that this is the biggest leverage that we can have in the future if we improve these things. Latency sometimes, of course, the end customer knows that they are talking to an AI. While a lot, if let's say they have genuine queries around the product, they might still continue having a conversation, but it's harder for them to build empathy for the agent if they
Hmm.
know that it's a machine that they are talking to, right? That is something that if the agent is more human sounding, it's more like the pauses, the dialect, also the accent, all of that changes according to the customer and what how they are speaking. I think that adaptability will really drive up the conversion rates.
Got it. So, how do you think the future would be? Would it be that people don't know they're speaking to an AI, or people get empathetic towards speaking with AIs?
I think like there are a lot of different behaviors that we are seeing. There are some people who have a conversation, like a complete conversation with the bot, and then they're like, "Oh, are you human or are you AI?" They still have doubts, but again, if it's a meaningful conversation, they continue to have it, right? In the future, once let's say we are able to at production scale solve the problems around latency, sometimes gibberish as well, there will be a scenario in which majority of the people will not be able to make out that they are speaking
Got
to
it.
any. That is ideally the best case scenario for us as a company.
That's very interesting. We've also seen something similar, is that the more intent the person has to have the conversation, the lesser they care whether it's AI or a human. If it's
Yeah.
a recruitment call, if it's a call where I've just gone and registered for a tech course and I'm getting a call to discuss my registration and admission, people do not mind at all. Often they never even ask, they just have a normal conversation. But the minute you get into sales, the minute you get into pushing them into doing something, the very quickly like, hey, is this an AI call, right? And then that's a very
Yeah.
common question that comes.
Yeah, it's also for us, we've realized that, especially for this particular use case, it's very category dependent, right? If
Yeah.
let's say I'm buying a 500 rupees lipstick online, I don't want to have a conversation with whether a human or an AI agent about it, right? It's an impulse purchase. I will buy it and get
Hmm.
done. However, if I'm buying something that is very high utility, a high ticket size purchase that I will be using for the next 5 to 10 years, then I will have a lot of questions around usability, quality, warranty, etc. And that is when the intent is so high that actually it does not matter if there's an AI or a human at the other end.
So out of all the SKUs that you have done cart abandonment for, which
Mhm.
would be the best or the most highest converting, and which would be like the lowest converting?
The highest converting would be essentially like mattress adjacent categories. That is the highest converting for us because of the fact that it's a very high consideration purchase for people.
Hmm.
The lowest converting and a category that we're just not going after is like around fashion and makeup and personal care, which are very visual categories, right?
Hmm.
Aesthetic,
Hmm.
one of the primary reasons why you purchase, and you can't have a conversion over a phone call in that case. Yeah,
So that's
this is.
actually very, yeah, that's a very interesting take because how things would work earlier is let's get AI or automated things to do the basic sales. But for the complex sales, we should always have a human. But what you're saying, in fact, is when you have a voice AI, a much more intelligent AI agent speaking for complex sales, that's where you actually see a bigger delta.
Yeah, that is,
Great.
and that
Hmm.
we've there's a lot of data that we have around this as well, because in the while we were in the pilot stage, we worked with a bunch of different kinds of brands to figure out how conversion rates are different. So it's very clear. It's the most obvious thing also that for a lower ticket size product, the conversion rates are also lower, or a kind of
Hmm.
product where again aesthetic plays a big role in decision making, again conversion rates are lower. So essentially, the high consideration, high AOV kind of categories are where there is PMF for something like this.
That opens a very big market, right? Because even if
Right.
conversion rates aren't objectively very high, any sort of
Yeah,
conversion on a high ticket sale where you're not paying too much money in implementing something is really
correct.
unlocking a lot for your business. Very
Yeah,
interesting take.
yeah.
Uh,
Especially another example is around, let's say, lab grown diamonds, right? Now in the US, it's something that's been around for a long time. In India, it's just catching up. It's a new thing. A lot of people, for them, a lab grown diamond, it's the first purchase for them, right? It's a non-natural diamond. So there are a lot of questions that people have around this category, how it works, and what will be the warranty, what is the durability. So even though the nature of, you will still need a design to get to the final
hmm.
answer, but you will still have a lot of questions around the product quality itself that need a conversation. And that's where voice AI also helps.
Very interesting. Great. And just slightly tracking back, you said earlier there was just push-based marketing versus that we've automated with voice AI. Any sort of numbers, any sort of benefits that you are seeing or showing to your clients on what
Yeah.
voice AI is achieving that push-based marketing could not?
Like very clear, again in marketing it's very numbers driven, right? In a situation where it was only WhatsApp and email push marketing, let's say the card recovery is around 10%, right? Now you introduce voice AI into the picture. Now the recovery on the same day, within let's say a 24-hour window, moves up from 10 to 12.5, 13%, right? So that's a very clear jump and statistically significant jump that
Mm.
we are able to see the time, that it's not just like a spike, but like consistently over time we see this result.
Got it, got it. And even out of the 10%, around 6 to 7 would be very natural card recovery that would already happen. So you're almost
Organic.
doubling. Yeah,
Correct.
so in terms of inaugurating, almost doubling what otherwise would not have happened.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Slightly controversial question, but something that everyone would love to hear. So, if I'm an e-commerce founder and
Yeah.
now I'm seeing that yes, I need a tool like this to automate all my cart abandonment calls. I have three options. One is I build everything from scratch. I use NA10, I use 11 Labs, DeepGram, GPT. Second is you use like an orchestrational player like Bolna, or if you're in US or elsewhere like a VAPI or something. Or finally, you use like a more specialized provider such as Hypothesis. Would I choose which one to use, right? What are the pros and cons?
Firstly, like I think everyone should just get their hands dirty and build something, right? Through with the automation tools that are currently there, that really helps you to, as a brand, to understand what is possible, what is not, right? So I think, like, regardless, just do build something in house. But from a long term perspective, what is more scalable and what is reliable? Because ultimately, you're not doing it for the sake of building, but you need results, right? So why I would strongly push for a specialized solution like Hypothesis, and then I'm sure in other sectors such as real estate, healthcare, etc., there will be other players, right? So
Hmm.
specialized vertical AI type solutions help in two ways. One is that they will be integrated with your native software stack, so you don't have
Hmm.
to do any kind of API integrations yourself. That's one big plus, right? The second is that they have the category focus. So instead of having a generic agent, which I can deploy to different countries across categories, I know what kind of an agent works for, let's say, mattress category versus furniture
Hmm.
category. And that learning has come to me via like a trial and error method, constantly reiterating that. So that is something that a specialized kind of company brings to the table, which others don't, because they have more of a horizontal focus. So I that's
Awesome.
how I put it. Yeah.
Super helpful. So what's next for you, right? If we look at your 6 month plan, is it
Yeah.
cart abandonment for more type of companies? Is it doing more than just cart abandonment? Are you going beyond e-commerce? What are your plans?
So not going beyond e-commerce anytime soon. As I said, like there are a lot of other workflows within e-commerce that are up for grabs as of now. So we will be going after those within cart abandonment also, and overall website improvement, website conversion rate improvement. There are a lot of things that can be done. We have
Hmm.
certain moonshot ideas as well to essentially change the interface itself of the way people shop online. We will be
Nice.
doing a lot of those experiments and going deeper in cart abandonment to establish certain results that can be like expected, right? Guaranteed kind of results at a category level. That really helps us scale without having any kind of an in-person and hand holding with the company, because the playbook has been set. So right now we are in the process of building those playbooks at a category level and then scaling to other companies within those categories.
Got it. Super exciting. And you've been using Bolna for 6 months, so you must have seen how the conversational experience and latency also has increased over that. And we'll hope to keep doing that so that we can reach closer to a state where your users love speaking to voice AI agents built on Bolna. So I'm happy to be on the journey with you and really excited
Yeah,
to see how it goes.
yeah, it's been
Yeah,
cool. Sorry. Yeah.
no, please go ahead.
Yeah, it's also like working with Bolna helped with go to market, right? Instead of doing what you did and then building on top, it would have taken us a lot of time to again go to market. I would think of you as, of course, like an early stage partner for sure. And even like with, let's say, because we work very closely and we are always connected on WhatsApp, a lot of things like it improve very fast. So the shipping time is great, which also gives confidence that as we scale, Bolna can still continue to be our partner.
Great to hear. Just one very quick question for you. So let's say there was one e-commerce brand that you would love to work with. Which one would that be?
Yeah, there are a lot of new and interesting brands coming up in India. A lot of them are category creators. So one of them would be, I would definitely take Gutenberg's name because they've grown so fast. The product works really well. I am myself a user of their products,
Wow.
and yeah, I like it's great to see how quickly they have become a category leader. And within that category, of course, there are other companies in India and across the world. So would be great to just crack that category with them as a partner.
No, no, great. Let's try to make this podcast reach
Yeah.
Manoj and the Atomberg team. But if any IIT Bombay folks are watching, please spread the
Yeah.
word. But yeah, that's super useful, and hopefully we'll get you in contact with Atomberg as well. But how can people try Hypothesis? How can people get in touch with you and start using your agentic workflows for their e-commerce brands?
Just go to our website. We'll link it in the below, and there you can just book a small conversation with us. We'd want to understand your brand, your products, and how best to sell them. And then it takes 3 days to essentially stitch everything together and go live.
Awesome, perfect. Similarly, to try Bolna, all the links and the Calendly link will be in the description below. Definitely try us out. We also have a self-serve product, which we'll also be sharing the link to, which you can go and build your first agent yourself. That's how Damini built her first agent, really liked it, and then we've been working very close for the last 6 months. So thanks for coming on the brand new podcast, Damini, and thanks for also suggesting that we should do a podcast and finally making something that I've been wanting to do for a long time a reality.
Yeah, yeah, it was a
So
great conversation, and hopefully there'll be a lot more to see with you and your customers.
yes, yes, looking forward to it. So thanks everyone, and please keep watching our podcast. Let me know who you want to see next, and if you want to show up on the Voice AI podcast, please just DM me.